Hi! I recently posted a poll asking how many materials are used to make today's racket strings. Here are the 5 choices and the results. So coming in at 3 materials, it was 20%, 4 materials, 20%, 5, 27%, and 6, 20%. Oh, and I also gave an other choice that came in at 15%. Based on these results, it wasn't as clear-cut as one might think. But if you voted 5, you are correct. And here are the 5 materials. Nylon, which includes synthetic gut and multifilament. Polyesters, including co-polyesters. Natural gut. Aramid fiber, better known as Kevlar. And Polyetheretherketone, known as PEEK and marketed as Zyex. Although the first Zyex monofilament string was introduced in 2012, only a few people know about it or use this PEEK string made by a US company, Ashaway Strings. This string was innovated in the US and is manufactured in the UK. And though I learned about this string a while back, it wasn't about 3 years ago that I started carrying it. So I contacted John GUGEL, a friend and colleague at IART, who has a lot of experience with these strings. First, let's go to the tennis court to prepare these unique strings. Right, so I'm out here on the tennis court, and if I have to do a manual pre-stretch, I'll wrap the string around a pole and then hold both ends and pull it. And I did another video on that, so you can check it out. But in this case, John had mentioned that I should stretch the full length of string so that the manual stretch would be perfect. So I'll go ahead and give this a shot. So I figured out a way I can do it by not having to wrap it around the pole. So what I'm gonna do is, I have 2 rags and 2 starting clamps. So what I'm gonna do is first get the one end of the string. I'm gonna send it through this gap over here and poke a hole or poke it through the rag. And this rag is gonna be used for protection because I'm gonna have the clamp secured by the fence. And so you can see it's sticking out right there. And I have one of my starting clamps right here. I'm gonna secure it on the end, and I hope this works and it doesn't fall down. So I have it pretty secure here. I think if I pull it, it should stay. And what I'm gonna do is walk back until I reach the end, the other end of the string, and I'll have I have another rag here and my other starting clamp that I'll be securing the end with. And what John had mentioned is I should pull it slowly for 4 or 5 times and then give it a nice full pull for about 35 to 40 seconds. So I'll go ahead and do that here. So I'm just walking it back, making sure that the string does not kink. So I'm holding in my hand so it doesn't just fall down to the ground, and making sure that the coil just unnaturally unravels itself. So, and this is enough length for the mains, and I'll be doing the same process for the crosses. So I have my other starting clamp here. I'm going to secure it there. And this padding, this rag is just for padding for my hand because I'll be pulling it for some time. So I just want to make sure that my hand doesn't get sore. So I'm going to give it 4 or 5 gentle pulls. So I'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, I'll do 5, and 5. And then I'm gonna time my pull for this 35-second to 40-second pull. So let me just set my watch here. All right, so I'm gonna just pull it and just put all my weight onto it for the next 40 seconds or so. And okay, so yeah, this is really stretching out, and just gonna hold it here. And looks like that clamp on the other end is holding, so that's good. All right, that's 25 seconds. All right, so that's 40 seconds. And so what I'm gonna do is I don't wanna let this fall to the ground, so I'm just gonna take off the starting clamp here. And then I'm going to recoil it so I don't have to let this drop to the ground. And a lot of the coil memory came out of the string. I mean, so it'll be easy to work with, that's for sure. So I'm just going to bring it back here. And so this can be done by yourself. And yeah, it looks like this tip worked. So I'm going to go inside and start stringing up the racket. All right, so before stringing this racket up, there's a couple of things you want to prepare first. I did clean the clamps, and I am going to treat it like as if I'm stringing natural gut. So I am going to adjust my clamps so they're at a setting that's applying less pressure to the string. So I'm just going to move it there. The pulling speed, you want to have it at 50% or lower, and I've always done mine on speed 1, which is the lowest setting. And we're not going to pre-stretch these strings. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and use the Yusuke method, but I'm also placing the offset tube as a precaution so there's no premature breakage. And I've done another video with the offset tube, so I'll provide the link. One thing you'll notice as you apply tension to each string is how much this string takes, how much it elongates and how long it takes to reach its reference tension. So I'll go ahead and do a pull here. And it does take a while for it to reach there. So you definitely want to wait till it does reach that point before moving your clamp. While you watch me install the rest of the main strings, I wanted to share some additional stringing installation tips. So I have 4. 1, you want to make sure you check the grommets thoroughly. These strings are very sensitive to any sharp edges caused by a worn or broken grommet. I strung a racket once that was apparently broken in the 9 o'clock area of the frame, which is unusual because typically the high stress areas of the grommets would be at 10 and 2 and 8 and 4 o'clock. But yeah, you want to make sure that you check all the grommets. Second, the string tension is recommended no higher than 60 pounds due to the nature of the string material. Third, allow the tension head to pull the string fully before clamping each string. And again, this is due to the high elongation of this material. And finally, you want to make sure that you release the string clamp base before the string clamp teeth to avoid any scuffing of the string. So you can watch me right here, the base and the top of the clamp. There is no doubt that the popularity of polyester strings on the Pro Tour has changed the game, allowing these players to take bigger cuts at the ball and therefore produce more spin. Unfortunately, along with this trend is the number of junior and adult recreational players that use polyester strings, thinking their games will be transformed or that they can play like the pros. The bad news is that in some cases, they become injured due to the stiff nature of the material. Although Ashaway has been working with PEEK in multifilament forms for over 30 years, they felt it was time to develop a monofilament string. Enter Monogut Zyex Pro 17 in 1.22 and Monogut Zyex 16 in the 1.27 millimeters. So what attributes does PEEK bring to a string that other materials don't? First, it is a soft, arm-friendly material that offers comfort. Second, it has excellent dynamic stiffness, which helps generate more power. Third, it snaps back like polyester, which means good spin potential. And finally, it has natural tension maintenance characteristics. Well, does it sound too good to be true? I'll share more on this later. And if you want to learn more about this string, there is a wealth of information on the Ashaway website, and I'll provide a link down below. Alright, so I'm at the tie off, and this is where it gets a little tricky, and this is what turns off a lot of stringers is tying the knot. So one of the things you'll notice when you tie off the knot, it's not going to come as tight, meaning that when you normally tie off a knot, it basically will not have any space between the loops. But what I'm gonna do is I would recommend a pro knot or a Parnell knot, but I wouldn't recommend a double half hitch because it's not a self-tightening type of knot. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a Parnell here. I think it has a little bit more bulk, so it'll at least have the appearance that it is holding. And I'll provide some pictures so you can see what it looks like after I'm done. So what I would recommend is to hand tighten the knot first. So you got that first loop there that I'm holding, and at the same time I'm actually pushing a string on the outside so that all that slack, as much as of it, is going through there. And before I tighten the second loop, I'm going to go ahead and grab my pliers. And I'll do it two ways. I'll use the starting clamp on the next one, but on this one it's a little riskier. There's a sharper edge on the sides of the jaw, so you just really got to make sure that you're not angling your pliers. The other thing is having your hand under the pliers or the starting clamp is helpful. You get more leverage pulling up when cinching a knot. So here's a tip that I think will help in terms of how tight you should pull this knot, because believe me, I've broken some of these before learning the hard way. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the first loop that I'm tightening. And typically if you're tightening a knot, you'll be using your whole forearm pulling the knot up. But what I'm going to focus on is just using my wrist strength and just use that as a gauge. So I'll go ahead and grab where I want to cinch the knot from. I actually have my hand resting on this arm support, so that kind of helps if you have a machine that has those supports. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull up on it. And again, that's as far up as I can go with using my wrist strength. And the knot right now doesn't appear that it's really tight, and that's just the nature of the string. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and pull the second loop up with my hand. And then again, just trying to focus on just using my wrist strength to tighten that knot. So it's going to come out with a little space, and again, I'll provide a picture. But I'll go ahead and tighten the next knot the same way with using a starting clamp. So I'm here with this one. And it might be a little bit safer with the starting clamp because of the fact that the edges of that starting clamp is not as sharp. And what I'm talking about is the edges here. But you still want to be careful and not angle it when you're cinching up the knot. So again, I'm using the Parnell, so just going to go here, back in, and you're going to hand tighten first. And when you pull it, you don't want to rock the string either. You want to just pull it up in a straight line, not rock it back and forth. So if that's what you normally do on your knots, you really want to avoid that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use the starting clamp here. So I can't rest my hand in this situation with these starting clamps. So again, I'm just going to place my fingers under here and just really focus on trying to just pull up, and that's it. So it's just using my wrist strength. My elbow is staying in place, so that's staying right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the second, tighten the second loop. And again, just use my wrist. And then I'm going to go ahead and loosen the string clamp, and that's it. But if you don't feel secure about your knots because of the fact that there is a space in the knot itself, you can actually cheat a little bit. You can use crazy glue or super glue, and really what you want to do is just aim right into the knot. You don't want to get any on the grommet. So I've used this tip on the natural gut video that I did, but basically I have a tube here, and if you haven't used it in a while, you want to make sure you test out the flow of how it's coming out. So I'll bring it up here, and you just want to make sure that that drop right there is just a little drop, because it's that drop that you're going to put right into the knot. So I'll go ahead and do that for one of the knots, and yeah, it doesn't appear that I need it, but I'll just do it for demonstration purposes. So I'm just going to get a good angle at the knot, and then just place that drop right where that loop comes over and under, and that's it. So I just put it on that one knot right there. So that's a way to secure it if you're not sure if your knot will hold. But again, that's where the challenge is when working with these strings, is on the tie-offs. So I'll go ahead and start up the crosses and show you that next. As you watch me install the crosses, you'll notice that I'm starting from the third cross from the top, and I'm going to work my way backwards up to the first one. I did another video called Install Crosses Faster and Reduce Friction, so you can check that out. But basically, by doing it this way, I'm only weaving about 5 feet of string through the first 3 crosses, so that helps reduce friction. So you can see that I'm using the offset tube, and my starting clamp is securing the string on the outside there. And I'm going to proceed to tension 3 strings before I release the starting clamp on the outside of that offset tube. So I just finished tensioning the 3rd string, but you can see I'm weaving the 4th one, and I'm going to leave it untensioned. I just wanted to get it out of the way. So you can see now I can retension that first cross, remove the starting clamp, and then move the string clamp over to that first string. And I'll proceed by tying the same knot that I did on the main strings. All right, I just completed the last cross, and I'm holding up a tool called the Cam Action Pliers. John GUGEL actually uses this tool and recommended it, but I don't normally use it. So I thought I'd bring it out of my toolkit and try tying off this knot anyway. So the purpose of this tool, or you'll see that there's a rounded portion at the bottom of that pliers. So that rests on the frame while you can grip onto the string and pull up on it to cinch the knot. And you get a lot of good leverage with that, with this plier. So you'll notice that as you're pulling up too, it keeps the string fairly straight. So that helps in reducing the chance of breaking at the knot. Now let's get back to the statement I mentioned earlier. Does it sound too good to be true? And let's look at what Monogut Zyex and this PEEK material claim to offer. Here's a chart that I made using the numbers from the Tennis Warehouse University Strings tool and the IART String Characteristics database. So what I did here is I picked a string from each of the 5 materials, and for nylon or synthetic gut, I picked Prince Lightning Pro. For polyester, I have the Babolat RPM Rough. For the PEEK or Zyex, Ashaway Monogut ZX. For natural gut, I have Babolat Touch VS. And for the Aramid fiber, better known as Kevlar, Ashaway Kevlar. So in this next column here, I have listed all the gauges. And what I had to do is I strung the Racquet with Ashaway Monogut ZX Pro, which is a 17 gauge version of that string. But because the database at Tennis Warehouse didn't have that listed, I had to pick out the 16 gauge. And so what I did is I picked out the same for all of these other strings to make sure I was comparing apples to apples. Next we have the cost. One of the things about the Monogut ZX is that it is kind of pricey, but you can see that it's comparable to a high-end polyester. So, and then you have the other prices listed here. All right, so let's take a look at this column stiff. So this has to do with the comfort of the string. And the higher the number, the stiffer it is. So you can see that the polyester is at 210. That makes sense. But if you look at how close this Monogut ZX is to natural gut, that's quite impressive that it's that close. So that makes sense there. Now we have the next category when I talked about power. And this power potential is a number that I got from the IART website. And John GUGEL is the one that conducts these tests. So what I have here, and I also did another video, by the way, so you can check that out. But what I have here is the higher the number, the more power potential and how elastic the string is. So you can see that this this is the highest right here. The Lightning Pro came out really high too, so that was good. And then Natural Gut here. It makes sense that the polyester was a lower number. Take a look at the Ashaway Kevlar. I mean, that's really low there. All right, so next we're going to talk about the spin potential. So I did mention that the Monogut Zyex has the same snapback properties as polyester, but you can see that at 4.4, it's a lot lower than the polyester that I picked out. And not all polyesters are created equal, but I did pick one that has a pretty high spin potential. Then you can see the synthetic gut at 5.5 and the natural gut not known for spin potential at 2.7. And then finally we have tension loss. And I'm surprised at this number at 47% because one of the things about the Monogut ZX is that it claims to have good tension maintenance. This number makes sense. The polyester is not known to hold tension very well. The synthetic gut here came out really good, and then natural gut at 19%, that makes sense because that's what it's known for in terms of tension maintenance. So here's what I plan to do. I'll return to you in a month with some readings specifically about the tension maintenance of Monogut ZX Pro. I'll also compare this racket to another identical racket strung with my favorite synthetic gut, Prince Lightning Pro. I'll also string up two of my rackets, one with Monogut ZX Pro and the other with Babolat RPM Blast. So I hope you join me as this journey continues in episode 2. Thanks for watching, happy stringing, and let your strings play. Aloha! I'm proud to announce that I recently joined the Tennis Warehouse affiliate team. If you purchase products from Tennis Warehouse, please use my affiliate link provided below. I will receive a commission which will help support me and my YouTube channel. Mahalo and let your strings play.